This episode is brought to you by Amazon Prime. From streaming to shopping, Prime helps you get more out of your passions. So whether you're a fan of true crime or prefer a nail-biting novel from time to time, with services like Prime Video, Amazon Music, and fast free delivery, Prime makes it easy to get more out of whatever you're into or getting into. Visit Amazon.com/Prime to learn more.
At Chipotle, we also have a playlist. Guacamole as it's being hand-mashed. The sizzle of adobo chicken on the grill. The chopping of onions and cilantro. We call our playlist Real. Order now. Chipotle. For real.
The Rush Hour with James Golden. Entertaining and informative. On the Red Apple Podcast Network.
Before you go, we're about to talk about Trump's retribution campaign we're seeing at the FBI and the Justice Department. You're obviously on his enemies list. He's Kash Patel's enemies list. Are you worried that they're going to come after you in some way? I mean, he's hinted at it before.
Well, I think he's already come after me and several others in withdrawing the protection that we had for from the Iranians for the attack on Qasem Soleimani. So I think, and I said in the new forward to the paperback edition of my book, I think it is a retribution presidency.
I mean, you've heard from Andrew and Caitlin that there has to be some showing of probable cause to a federal judge. This just isn't Donald Trump's or Kash Patel's anger or vitriol coming to roost here. There are line FBI agents, career prosecutors, career people in the Department of Justice who assembled a case file that had to go to a federal judge, presumably who doesn't take any of these things lightly, and show a probable cause, more likely than not, that there was evidence of a crime of some sort contained in John Bolton's house. So while this, John Berman said earlier, this has a really bad look to it, this has probably been going on now for quite some time. This isn't pulled together in a few hours. This investigation has most likely been going on for quite some time to get to this point. The timing is optically, it looks political because of, as you said, John Berman alluded to it, that, Bolton was on criticizing the president heavily. He's been a big detractor of Donald Trump's, has said a lot of not nice things about Donald Trump, but that does not still underlie the fact that there may be some there, and that a federal judge someplace found that there's more likely than not something here in this house that contains evidence of a crime.
Evidence of a crime. What could that crime be? Ladies and gentlemen, welcome. Bill Snerdley's Rush Hour. It's Friday already again edition. That's right. Again. So quick. Here we are on another Friday. Life just passes by quickly. I have spent a lot of time in Bethesda, Maryland. A lot of time. And that is the Tony, very upscale neighborhood where John Bolton's house is, Bethesda, Maryland. And it's an expensive place to live. It ain't cheap. It's in, of course, Montgomery County, which is, if you want, I've said this before, Montgomery County, Maryland, could very well be picked up, towed out, plopped down in SoCal or anywhere in SoCal, and it would fit right in terms of politics. It is the most liberal, one of the most liberal counties in America. And you can tell by the absurd rulings that come, the absurd laws that come out of that place on a local level. But this morning, of course, the FBI was in Bethesda, Maryland, visiting Mr. Bolton, who was home at the time. And according to an FBI spokesperson, the search was related to an ongoing investigation into Bolton's alleged mishandling of classified documents. So, this is, remember the FBI storming into Mar-a-Lago and all of that? Well, yeah. This time classified documents. The probe was initially opened during President Trump's first term. but then it went away during the Biden administration. Well, it's back. Now it's back. A senior, by the way, all this is in the Daily yesterday, a senior U.S. official speaking to the Nueva York Post confirmed that the case had indeed been stalled under the Biden administration for political reasons. Only adds fuel to the argument that the Justice Department had been operating with a clear political bias. Although, of course, a lot of people are whining, well, this is just like Biden, like Bolton himself. This is just retribution. It's retribution. You know, John Bolton was a hero to many when he first came out on the scene during the Bush 43 years, and I remember it very well. But in the end, this guy has created a lot of, how shall we say, bad will. In fact, Brett Baer, Cut 6 Carlos, Brett Baer interviewed him a few years back and asked him about all of that. And this ought to give some indication to the point that I just made.
Speaking of not credible, that is what George W. Bush said about you. Did not believe that you were credible. Colin Powell obviously had a lot of things to say about you. Other administrations and other people you've worked with have painted a negative picture. Is there somebody that you've worked with that has a positive perspective on your time?
Well, I hope there are a lot of people who have a positive perspective. I've been criticized for a lot of things. There's a long list of that, I'm sure.
Well, I hope somebody out there, I hope there are a lot of people who have nice things to say about me. Can you quote one? I hope there are a lot of people out there that have nice things to say about me. He is, I don't know. Anyway. So what is CNN obsessed with all of this? They're obsessed with cut 3. This is what CNN was obsessed with as the story was breaking.
Assessing the House still on the scene right now.
Got one interesting tidbit, which is that tweet you just mentioned from FBI Director Ash Patel saying no one is above the law, FBI agents on mission. The Vice President of the United States, J.D. Vance, just retweeted it. So, again, this is social media sort of play-by-play here.
Yeah.
But you now have the vice president retweeting this, this statement. Again, it's not specific, but it was put out during the time of this FBI search, with now the vice president leaning in, which I imagine will only lead to more questions about the timing of this. And
the Attorney General also had retweeted with comments this morning as well.
So
J.D. Vance, how dare him? How dare the Vice President of the United States of America retweet? It's not called tweet anymore. It's called post. Repost something that the FBI director said nobody's above the law. How dare J.D. Vance actually repost that remark? What is wrong with him? How biased? How? It's almost criminal. Reposted a remark on X. Meanwhile, CNN's Caitlin Palance, she's a senior commentator, brought us a civics lesson. She was talking with Wolf Blitzer of CNN, and this is how that dialogue went.
What Trump said that really jumped out at me is that he said that he hasn't been briefed by the Justice Department yet. He expects that later in the day. But he said, I could know about it. I could be the one starting it. I'm actually the chief law enforcement officer. But then he said he's telling the Attorney General, Pam Bondi, you have to do what you have to do. And right now he doesn't know anything. I looked. The Justice Department on its own website says the Attorney General is the chief law enforcement officer of the federal government, not the president.
Interesting.
Did you hear that? Did you know that? Did you know that the chief executive officer of the United States of America, the commander-in-chief, the president of these United States, is a subordinate when it comes to law enforcement of his own appointee? Did you know that? Caitlin Palance, she went and she looked. She looked, but it jumped out at her. It jumped. It leapt out. It said, Trump just called himself the chief executive law officer of the land. It jumped at her. And it practically wrapped its arms around her. And then she went on the website, and the website said that oh no, Kash Patel is the chief executive. And now that means that Trump isn't really the chief executive. It's Kash Patel. And Trump just must serve Kash. I bet you didn't know that. These people are truly, 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 they've got something wrong. Okay. So, one Maryland father had his house searched today. The big news is that another Maryland father is on his way back to Maryland. Do you know who I'm talking about? Who am I talking about, Carlos?
The one and only, I want to say Abrego Garcia something.
You got that daggone right. Maryland father. Slap daddy, Mac Daddy of Mac Daddies of Maryland. The Mac Daddy of Maryland is on his way macking back to Maryland so that he can mac the wife, mac the kids, and mac everybody. And probably have margaritas with Chris Van Hollen. I wouldn't be surprised if they're out drinking tonight in some Maryland bar. He and Chris, cozy again. The Maryland dad, a federal judge, has seen the way that Kilmar Abrego Garcia, MS-13 alleged gang member, alleged wife beater, alleged all-around bad guy, but he was a Maryland dad, illegally here in the United States of America, but the Democrats have made him their poster boy for all that's wrong. So Maryland dad, Kilmar Abrego Garcia, has been released from Tennessee so he can go back to Mac Daddy in Maryland while awaiting trial on human smuggling charges. Never mind, he's smuggling other humans. They weren't his children. He's still the Mac Daddy. So Mac Daddy of Maryland is on his way back home. The Salvadoran national became a flashpoint in President Donald Trump's immigration agenda after he was after he was deported back to El Salvador. Yes, Carlos, it's time to take a break. Let's just do that thing. But if any Mac Daddy sightings this weekend in Maryland, let us know. Stay with us, James Golden, Snerdley. Fastest hour in American media.
The Rush Hour with James Golden on the Red Apple Podcast Network. The Rush Hour with James Golden. Entertaining and informative on the Red Apple Podcast Network.
I thought y'all said D.C. was going to be looking like Germany in the 1930s. If you go around D.C. and talk to the residents after Trump's decision to federalize the city, it sounds like the residents pretty happy to me. It's crazy. Every time Trump do something, y'all had this emotional-ass outrage. Then the that y'all say is going to happen never happens. Just like y'all said we was going to be slaves again when he got elected. But anyway, after it doesn't happen, it's straight silence. Then y'all bitching about something else. Make it make sense.
Make it make sense indeed. That's just another one of the voices from social media. Now, as you know, Gavin Newsom did sign that legislative act in California yesterday. I call it the Suppress Republican Votes to Almost Nothing Act, because that's what it is. It's about trying to strip the few Republicans, represent 40% of the electorate in California, but they already only have 17% of elective power in the House of Representatives, and he wants to strip that to 6% under this act to go after. Anyway, a lot about Gavin Newsom today. There's a question, and I'm looking at the clock to see whether we can fit it in. We can fit it in, I believe, very quickly. Cut 12. He was asked about these maps and how these maps came about. And I love this question, and listen to the way that Gazem ducks it.
Who are responsible for these maps? It's ultimately Assembly Speaker Robert Rivas. and Senate Pro Tem Mike McGuire. They are not here to answer our questions about ultimately these maps. I know, I'd love to. This is the second time they haven't shown up when a ballot measure is placed on the ballot by the legislature to answer questions from reporters. My question is, if those two end up running for Congress after this, how could that impact this campaign? How could that impact this campaign? I mean, considering voters did not want politicians drawing lines for themselves.
You have to ask them.
See how quickly he dodges that question? This woman's question is legitimate. These politicians drew maps. Politicians, these two, are believed to hold some sort of, how shall we say, agenda, a hidden agenda that perhaps they'll run for Congress themselves. So the maps that they drew could potentially favor them getting elected. This is after the voters of California clearly said, we don't want politicians drawing the maps. But they're doing it anyway. You ask Gavin Newsom about this, and what's his response? Well, you have to ask them. Well, they're not here. Ask them. They're not here at the pressers to take questions. I'll tell you what, folks. Everybody, by the way, Gavin Newsom's numbers in California are skyrocketing. Yeah, CNN's Harry Enton did a poll on that. We'll share that when we get back. Whatever you do, don't go away. Keep it right here.
The Rush Hour with James Golden on the Red Apple Podcast Network. The Rush Hour with James Golden. Entertaining and informative on the Red Apple Podcast Network.
Okay, Florida Education Commissioner, Carlos, how do you pronounce this guy's last name? Anastasios.
Anastasios Kamuchas.
Anastasios
Kamuchas.
Anyway, he has filed a complaint. Thank you, Carlos. Carlos knows about these things. He grew up over there. He filed a complaint seeking to revoke the teaching certificate of a Gainesville, Florida high school teacher, Lauren Watts. What, you ask, what did Lauren Watts do to merit having the Florida Education Commissioner file a complaint against her? Well, a mother recently brought an issue to the State Board of Education Commissioner. And this was the complaint. She was at a meeting, a school where she leveled the complaint against this particular, I suppose it's fair to say, liberal teacher who was teaching her kids. Cut 14. And this is what that complaint sounded like.
My son, 6 years old, was prohibited from sitting next to his friend on the school bus because a parent objected to my perspectives on book challenges. My older son's history teacher allowed students to label him a Nazi file simply for his interest in history and participation in ROTC. She later nominated my son as the most likely to become a dictator and had his classmates vote on it and try to force him to the front of the class to receive the certificate, which he rightly refused, all because of his conservative values and our perspectives.
Thank you.
So Gainesville, the teacher allegedly first, her son, 6 years old, was denied. Apparently some other parent took issue with her politics because she's concerned about the books in the schools. So they would not allow her son to sit, the 6-year-old, on a school bus next to another kid he wanted to sit next to. But then the high school student, the teacher nominates him, potential, I guess, most likely to be a dictator, has the entire class vote on it. She made a certificate and tried to bully him into coming up and accepting the certificate because he has an interest in history. American, I don't know whether it's just American or world history. And so this teacher, Lauren Watts, has now has had a complaint filed against her by the Florida Education Commissioner to revoke her teacher's license, which we're going to keep track of this story. Education in, of course, America. Now, I promised more news on GASM, And here's the news. Harry Enton, and this, I don't only play this guy when he does the polls that are surprisingly that we like, but next to Raghavan Mayur, who is my favorite pollster in America, this guy, Harry Enton, he does good work, even though it's CNN. So he did a poll on GASM, and this is what it sounded like.
I absolutely think it's showing signs of working. And let's take a look at the voters who know Gavin Newsom best. Those voters out in California, those California Democrats. California Democrats and Newsom for governor. You go back to 2023, just 35% wanted him to run for president. Look at the percentage now who are excited for a run for president for Gavin Newsom. What is that? That's a 40-point climb. My goodness gracious. A rising tide of support for Gavin Newsom. Remember, back in 2023, the majority of Democrats did not want Joe Biden to run for another term, but California Democrats in Gavin Newsom's home state did not want him to run either. And now 75% are excited for him to run. And more than that, he's getting a higher percentage of the vote than Kamala Harris in her home state. He is beating the former vice president, who, of course, was the Democratic nominee in 2024. As I said, a rising tide of support for the California governor.
And we always say it's very early to be looking at 2028 polling, but why is California polling so important?
Why is it so important? Because I want you to take a look. It's one of those benchmarks, the home state polling for presidential candidates. If they can't win the primary in their home state, they ain't going to win anywhere. What are we talking about? Pres nominees and home state primaries. All of them won. All the nominees won. And all of them led in the early polls. So, yes, winning California is not tantamount to winning the nomination, but it is one of those stepping stones that you have to make it to if you, in fact, want to win the nomination historically. And, of course, in California, it has the most delegates out of any of the states that, of course, take part in the Democratic primary.
How are things looking nationally for Democrats?
Okay, so we're looking at the states, right? We're looking at Gavin Newsom's home state, but how about nationally? Does what we're seeing in California translate nationally? Chance of being the 2028 Democratic nominee, according to the prediction markets. Back on June 1st, before all this strategy, before all this confrontation with Donald Trump, you saw Gavin Newsom 11%, AOC at 10, Buttigieg at 8. Look at where Gavin Newsom has shot up to now. 27% now is the clear front runner, not at 50% plus, but still the clear front runner, at least according to the prediction markets. What we're seeing in California isn't staying in California, at least at this particular point.
Thanks, Harry. It's good to see you.
You're welcome. You're welcome. Now, some people might think this is bad news. Oh, no. Gavin Newsom, right now, up into 75% approval in California with California Democrats. Not with the whole electorate in California, with the Democrat Party. But this is also translating into higher numbers for him as a potential presidential candidate in 2028. Right now, he's beating out AOC, as you heard. He's beating out people like Buttigieg. He's beating out, who was the other that was? It doesn't matter. Some inconsequential Democrat. That it's AOC. Was it AOC? It's the who else do they have? Anyway, it doesn't matter. He's the number one Democrat right now. Why are you shaking your head? This is great news.
You know who I want to go down? Who I want as a nominee?
First of all, when you ask who do I know who you want to go down?
No, to go down and go to be the next nominee because she backtracked last summer.
Who?
We knew. Everybody knew. The princess said it. She was gonna be there.
Oh, would you please stop? Would you please don't? Princess Diana will be on tomorrow. I will ask her. No, Michelle Obama will. Who said it? Who said it? Who said it? Who said she will never run for the presidency? I did. Who was proven from day one? I dismissed it. And Princess Diana, I don't know whether you can see this over here. I keep it nearby. And here it is. Do you know what this is?
Yeah, I know what it is.
What is it? Tell the folks at home that can't see it.
It's a $100
it's
check.
A check because we bet on it.
That you were
and
right.
I keep it right here. And of course, I won. So, Michelle Obama is not running for anything except for maybe Princess of what's the name of that place up there where the Martha's Vineyard. high priestess of Martha's Vineyard, where all the Democrats are hanging, even right now. And the black elite in America hang up there in the summertime. They do. I'm not kidding. It's like why do you think the Obamas have a palatial mansion up there? The chef didn't fare too well, but that's a whole nother story. Anyway, my friends, I am very happy that Gavin Newsom is picking up steam. I am happy that Democrats are coalescing around Gavin Newsom. Whoever the Republicans choose as their nominee in 2028 will have a remarkably easier time with Gavin Newsom on the ballot than they would with some other Democrats. Because all you have to do is look at California. Look at what he's done to California, Kate. Look at what he's done to the place. This is a campaign ready to happen for America, and I am glad that he is surging. In fact, since you bring it up, let us turn to the current president of the United States, Donald Trump, and he mentioned California, cut 20. He talked about California, Kate, in the that was the oral office Clinton days. It's the Oval Office now. It is no longer the oral office. Billy Blue Dress hasn't been in the room in a while. Anyway, this is President Trump speaking today and about the leadership in SoCal and California.
Can you talk about the economic impact that people will have in these cities, and what's your message to the mayors to get their cities prepared, not only the beautification process, but also the safety aspect?
Well, Los Angeles is an example. You know, it's poorly run. We have a mayor there that can't even get permits to the people that lost their houses. Lee Zeldin got every permit. The hardest permit is the federal permit. Within 20 days, every single permit was there for the people to build their houses. But people are writing us, and they're saying they won't give us. The mayor is incompetent. The governor is incompetent. You know, Gavin. I know Gavin very well. He's an incompetent guy with a good line of bullshit, and he doesn't get the job done. And frankly, those people want to build their houses. It's terrible. They could have been built. Some of them could have been built already. But think of it, the federal government that has the most complex part, and it's the most complex environmental thing to do. We got it, everybody had it within 30 days. And they're not even close to getting their permits. And now they're talking about taking some of those sites and building low-income housing on them. These are high-end neighborhoods. And I'm all for low-income housing. I built a lot of low-income housing. I know all about 236. I know every program that there is in the government.
Carlos, we're going to have to just go out of this because I got some other things we got to hit real quick. Donald Trump talked about low-end housing. It's a good deal. He's done it, but it shouldn't be in Palisades Heights. That was the gist of that one. Cut 19. Hello, Chicago. Hello, alert to all of you from Chicago or with interest in Chicago. Pay attention to this one, please.
To do, we have to. And after we do this, we'll go to another location and we'll make it safe also. We're going to make our country very safe. We're going to make our cities very, very safe. Chicago's a mess. You have an incompetent mayor, grossly incompetent. And we'll straighten that one out probably next. That'll be our next one after this. And it won't even be tough. And the people in Chicago, Mr. Vice President, are screaming for us to come. They're wearing red hats, just like this one. But they're wearing red hats. African-American ladies, beautiful ladies, are saying, please, President Trump, come to Chicago. Please. I did great with the black vote, as you know. And
we got the gist of that. We may play the rest of that tomorrow. What was your question, Carlos?
James, do you think New York City is next after Chicago?
He actually talked about it. He mentioned that perhaps after he gets through with Chicago, and they're looking at a few other cities, but New York is in the mix too. They want to clean up they want to make the country safe again. Okay, let me see how much time we have left. The time is just dwindling away. Have you heard about this Cracker? You've heard. I know. It's all everywhere. Cracker Barrel. Cracker Barrel this, Cracker Barrel that. I, for the life of me, can't figure, This is the CEO, cut 21 of Cracker Barrel. She was on with Michael Strayhorn on GMA, Good Morning America. And this is part of what she said.
Honestly, the feedback's been overwhelmingly positive that people like what we're doing. I'll give you another soundbite. I actually happened to be in Orlando last week with all of our managers. We bring them together and every other year. And the number one question that I got asked, Michael, was, how can I get a remodel? When can I get a remodel? How do I get on the list?
Oh, really?
So because the feedback and the buzz is so good, not only from our customers, but from our team members. They want to work in a wonderful restaurant. So.
Okay, so that's where we got that. It's all good. It's all great. How can I get a remodel in my Cracker Barrel? How can I get a remodel in my Cracker? The feedback from the customers is great. Let's listen to some of the feedback. Here's a cut 22. Here's some feedback on the Cracker Barrel remodel.
Saul said on the internet, dude said he ate in a remodeled Cracker Barrel and he hated it. And I want to join in on the hate. If the Cracker Barrel don't look like the Jim Crow South, I can't eat there. You got to have the racism aesthetic. You got to have the rocking chairs and the hint of segregation in the air. If I don't feel like I'm on the set of Sinners, then how do I know I'm in a Cracker Barrel? This is a gentrified Cracker Barrel. They done took all the character out of it, and I know the edges of the pancake ain't burnt. I got to feel like somebody wants to say, good morning, boy, when I go in, with respect. And no respect at all. I feel like they want me to work there, but they don't want to pay me ever. And I've got to live there. That's Cracker Barrel's thing. If you take that away, what is it? A Denny's, a IHOP? A place I don't want to be at.
Not everybody's on board, I guess. Oh. You know, I've never eaten in the Cracker Barrel. You're not missing anything. What do you mean I'm not missing anything? Come on, let's be positive. Do you eat at Cracker Barrel, Carlos?
Not like daily, but I've been to one once.
Have you ever been to Sambo's?
No.
You've never been to Sambo's?
I also never been to Hooters either.
Well, Hooters and Sambo's are in two different leagues, bro. I'm just saying. Hooters has got a whole nother thing than Sam. You do know what Sambo's. I'm referring to its original name. Sambo's have you ever eaten at Denny's? Well, then you've eaten at Sambo's. That was the name of Denny's before they changed it way back when. And they had a little black guy, you know, those black caricature guys with they had a Sambo. And they changed it to Denny's. No more Sambo. Bo knows. Sambo. James Golden, Snerdley, don't go away.
The Rush Hour with James Golden on the Red Apple Podcast Network. The Rush Hour with James Golden. Entertaining and informative on the Red Apple Podcast Network.
You know, some people are saying that this Cracker Barrel thing is another one of these woke marketing chicks ruining a business. Others say they're enjoying the piling on of it. Also, I'd never heard the name Crackhead Barrel before just a few minutes ago, but Anyway, my friends, you know what? Coming Friday, September 5th, is the Red Apple Audio Network's Gala in Midtown Manhattan. Kicking off the 250th anniversary of America, there will be special performances. Lee Greenwood, Christopher Machino, Tony Orlando, Cousin Brucey, Joe Piscopo, Vinny McDonough. All of them. Limited amount of tickets are available. Get yours by going to redappleaudionetworks.com and click the Gala button at the top right. September 5th. Red Apple Audio Networks Gala. For tickets, redappleaudionetworks.com and click the Gala button at the top right. We got to get ready to get out of here. Back tomorrow, expecting Princess Diana to be with us. Also, America's Smoke Cafe Lady Bomb, Rhonda Schrock, our own Lizzie, your calls. In the meantime, may God bless. Protect each and every single one of you, your families, your loved ones. Love and gratitude always for you being here with me, allowing me to be with you. God willing, We're back early in the morning. Until then, my friends, I bid you adieu. We leave you with Bread, number one with this one in 1970. Bye.
Buying a car in Carvana was so easy. I was able to finance it through them. Whoa, wait, you mean finance? Yeah, finance. Got pre-qualified for a Carvana auto loan, entered my terms, and shot from thousands of great car options, all within my budget. That's cool, but financing through Carvana was so easy. Financed. Done. And I get to pick up my car from their Carvana vending machine tomorrow. Financed. Right, that's what I said.
You can spend time trying to pronounce financing, or you can actually finance and buy your car today on Carvana. Financing subject to credit approval. Additional terms and conditions may apply.